Hello everyone, I'm Olivia and I'd like to share a story about my overly involved mother-in-law Rachel. My tale begins with Tom and me, college sweethearts who were deeply in love and spent 4 blissful years together before getting married and starting our lives. However, our happiness was overshadowed by a few thorns, primarily Rachel and Tom's ex-girlfriend Lily. Tom and Lily had a 2-year history that ended abruptly when Lily was unfaithful with one of Tom's friends. Heartbroken, Tom and the relationship immediately. Despite the breakup, Lily's feelings for Tom lingered, leading her to make repeated attempts to disrupt our peace. Rachel's involvement in this drama was particularly challenging for me. Not only did she have a soft spot for Lily, but she also supported Lily's attempts to rekindle things with Tom, undermining our relationship in the process. Although I tried to maintain a polite demeanor with Rachel, a genuine connection remained elusive. This rift widened after an accident left me partially disabled and forced me to leave my job. Tom, ever supportive, suggested I focus on our home life, which only fueled Rachel's criticisms. She saw me as a burden, questioning my ability to care for Tom and accusing me of exploiting his kindness. Tom, undeterred by his mother's harsh words, stood by our love, insisting that our mutual affection was what mattered most. Yet Rachel continued to push the idea that Tom should reconsider his relationship with Lily, whom she believed was still a suitable match for him. Rachel's persistent comparisons of me to Lily, along with her efforts to arrange meetings between Tom and Lily, strained our relationship to its breaking point. This ongoing tension and Rachel's relentless disparagement eventually led us to relocate to another city, seeking distance from the negativity. Rachel blamed me for this decision, failing to recognize that her actions had driven us away. Ultimately, it was Tom who insisted on the move, worn out by the constant interference from his mother and Lily. Despite his attempts to set clear boundaries, Rachel's intrusive behavior continued. Relocating seemed to be our only escape. After the move, Rachel's meddling in our lives decreased significantly, granting us a brief period of happiness. However, about 7 months later, Rachel showed up unannounced at our door, claiming she had been evicted and had nowhere else to go. Tom was visibly distressed, but after discussing it, we decided to let her stay in hopes of mending their strained relationship. Unfortunately, Rachel had other plans. Fast forward another 7 months and Lily reappeared in our city. Rachel immediately informed Tom, portraying Lily as a victim of an abusive relationship and suggesting he reconnect with her for old times' sake. Tom was torn. Despite his past discomfort with Lily, Rachel's appeal to his empathy weighed heavily on him. Reluctantly, with my approval, Tom reached out to Lily, hoping to offer support as a friend. However, it wasn't long before Lily began pushing for more, with Rachel endorsing this idea and shocking us both with their blatant disregard for our marriage. Tom confided in me, suspecting a manipulative scheme behind their actions. His suspicions were confirmed when we learned from a friend of Lily's that Lily had fabricated her circumstances to get closer to Tom. Following Rachel's guidance, the revelation was infuriating, uncovering a level of deceit we hadn't anticipated. Tom struggled to come to terms with his mother's involvement in such a scheme. Determined to confront the issue, we decided to address Rachel directly. While Lily's deceit was irrelevant to us now, Rachel's betrayal felt deeply personal. She had taken advantage of our hospitality while orchestrating a plan to undermine our relationship. The audacity of their scheme was astonishing, and we knew we had to take a stand against such manipulation. Dealing with the betrayal and breach of trust from Rachel was incredibly painful. With heavy hearts, Tom and I knew we had to confront the issue directly. Summoning our courage, we sat Rachel down for an important conversation. Tom began by expressing his discomfort with Rachel's encouragement of an affair with Lily, emphasizing how disrespectful it was to both me and our marriage. Rachel dismissed his concerns, suggesting that he was being overly sensitive and insisting that Lily was a better match for him than I could ever be. Her blatant disregard for our relationship and her son's feelings was shocking. I spoke up, questioning Rachel's inability to respect our marriage, but she retorted harshly, calling me an annoyance. Tom defended me, making it clear that Rachel's behavior and comments were unacceptable. When confronted with the lie about Lily's supposed abusive ex-boyfriend, Rachel momentarily lost her composure, exposing her deceit. However, she quickly reverted to a defensive stance, justifying her actions with a misguided belief that Tom belonged with Lily. Her admission of preferring Lily over me, her lack of remorse, and her cruel remarks were deeply hurtful. Rachel openly wished for Tom to leave me for Lily, revealing her disregard for our happiness and the sanctity of our marriage. The conversation reached a breaking point when Rachel hinted that Tom was seeing things her way and suggested that a divorce was imminent, with Lily taking my place. This unfounded and hurtful claim was more than I could tolerate. Rachel's relentless pursuit of this fantasy, despite the emotional harm it caused, showed a profound lack of empathy for the real toll her actions had taken on us. Rachel's indifference had already left me seething, but her latest comments were the final straw. Tom was visibly shaken, clearly stunned by his mother's audacity. In response to Rachel's provocations, I found myself driven by a mix of anger and determination. I faced her directly, challenging her preference for Lily over me and her belief that Lily would make a better daughter-in-law. Rachel's unwavering assertion that Lily was superior only fueled my resolve. With a calm but firm tone, I told Rachel that her time in our house was over. She could either choose to live with Lily, whom she so admired, or find another place to stay, but she could no longer remain with us. I gave her a deadline of a few weeks to make arrangements to move out. Rachel was taken aback by my assertiveness. Likely not expecting such a decisive response, she attempted to regain her composure, insisting she wouldn't leave, claiming the house as her own, and even suggesting that I should be the one to leave. Anticipating a divorce between Tom and me, I countered her claims with equal firmness, reaffirming that she would be the one to leave. I made it clear to Rachel that the house was not hers to claim, and dismissed her delusional expectations of staying. Her assertion that she had a right to live there because she was Tom's mother was met with my laughter. Her assumption that Tom would side with her and Lily while I was somehow the outsider in my own home was absurd. Rachel's confusion at my reaction, combined with Tom's growing anger, highlighted the ridiculousness of the situation. She had indeed brought out the big guns, but her arguments were based on faulty assumptions and wishful thinking rather than the reality of our shared life and home. As Rachel continued to insist on her place in the house and Tom's supposed ownership of it, I couldn't help but laugh at her claims. Her belief in a scenario where she, Tom, and Lily would live happily ever after in our home, excluding me, was not only delusional but also a gross underestimation of the strength and resilience of our marriage. Rachel seemed convinced that Tom would eventually leave me for Lily, envisioning a future where they would be together. Mom, where are you getting these ideas? Do you honestly think I betray the woman I love? Tom's frustration was evident as he confronted his mother's baseless beliefs. Rachel attempted to justify her actions by claiming she had given Lily Tom's Because Lily was supposedly distraught over losing him. She argued that Tom shouldn't settle for me when he could be with Lily, whom she believed he truly loved. Tom stood firm, reiterating his commitment to me. Mom, I'm going to say this one last time. I'm not leaving Olivia. She's my everything, and Lily is in the past. I've made this clear to everyone involved. Rachel seemed stunned by Tom's unwavering loyalty and defense of our marriage, clearly not expecting such a strong rebuke from her son. In response to Rachel's obstinate fantasies, I firmly told her that her manipulation and interference were unwelcome. I informed her that it was time for her to find a new place to live. Rachel was in disbelief, insisting that Tom was just upset and would eventually come around to her way of thinking. Rachel's refusal to accept that Tom and I were united against her scheme was staggering. She even claimed that the house belonged to Tom and that he could decide who stayed and who left. That's when I revealed a crucial piece of information that left her speechless. The house was actually mine, purchased with my inheritance. This revelation shattered her assumptions about my role and capabilities within our family. Despite my previous attempts to maintain a cordial relationship with Rachel, it became clear that her presence in our home was toxic. Her relentless attempts to sabotage my marriage under the guise of caring for Tom were egregious. The fact that she had been living comfortably off us while plotting to break us apart only added insult to injury. Even faced with the truth about the house and Tom's unwavering commitment to our marriage, Rachel's delusions remained intact. Her refusal to accept reality was a stark reminder of her willingness to go to great lengths to fulfill her own desires, regardless of the harm it caused. When Rachel accused me of lying about the house's ownership, Tom stepped in to confirm the truth. The house was indeed mine, bought with my inheritance, Tom stated firmly. Rachel's assumption that marital ties made it equally Tom's house and thus that he would shield her from any consequences quickly crumbled under the weight of reality. Tom's stance was clear: even if this was my house, Mom, your actions have gone too far. You've tried to sabotage my marriage. Why would I let that slide? Rachel's realization that her son was serious about enforcing my decision to have her move out sent her into a state of panic. In a last-ditch effort to garner sympathy, Rachel began to cry, attempting to portray herself as a misguided victim who only wanted the best for Tom. However, both Tom and I saw her tears for what they were: manipulative tactics. Mom, you intended to break up my marriage. That's unforgivable, Tom declared. He reminded her of the generosity we had shown by providing for her, only for her to repay us with deceit and manipulation. It was clear that her stay in our home was over, and any future relationship would need serious reconsideration. Tom's unwavering stance marked a definitive end to Rachel's influence in our household. He understood the importance of standing by me, emphasizing that her betrayal was not something we could overlook. Rachel was to leave our home and give us the space we needed to heal and decide if any form of relationship could be salvaged in the future. This was a pivotal moment for us, where Tom proved his dedication to our marriage and to setting boundaries with his mother. Rachel's eviction wasn't just about reclaiming our space, it was a necessary step in protecting the sanctity of our relationship and ensuring our home remained a place of love and trust. Rachel's situation had spiraled beyond her control. What she envisioned as a future with Tom and Lily together had crumbled, leaving her facing eviction and a severed relationship with her son. In desperation, Rachel pleaded with us, arguing that her actions were a minor error and promising to speak with Lily about backing off. Despite her pleas, our decision was Firm the damage was done and her betrayal was too great to overlook, we requested a move-out date within the month. Emphasizing the finality of our decision, Rachel attempted to appeal to the familial bond, claiming she was ready to mend our relationship and that we could overcome this hurdle together. However, my patience had worn thin and her reluctance to provide a specific moving date led me to pursue an eviction notice, a step I hoped would underscore the seriousness of the situation. Rachel, shocked by my resolve, turned to Tom for support, but he stood by me, even offering to help pack her bags, signaling a united front against her manipulations. Rachel's attempts to negotiate fell on deaf ears as we distanced ourselves, seeking solace and privacy to discuss the toll her actions and Lily's involvement had taken on us. Tom expressed regret for not recognizing the extent of the manipulations sooner, and together we decided to seek couple counseling to repair the emotional damage inflicted. During Rachel's stay the following day, Rachel persisted in her attempts to elicit forgiveness, oscillating between fear and remorse and anger. When her efforts were rebuffed, her antics only strengthened my resolve to see her removed from our home. Accompanied by Tom, I visited a lawyer to initiate the eviction process. When we returned and informed Rachel of the official notice, she reacted with disbelief, perhaps hoping her outburst would make us reconsider, but her strategy was ineffective. Her continued attempts to sway us eventually ceased as the reality of her situation settled in. As Rachel packed her bags, her frustration boiled over into a tirade, predicting we'd regret pushing her out. She even suggested Tom would be better off leaving me for Lily, prompting Tom to shut the door on her outburst. Rachel's anger was short-lived. By evening she found herself without shelter as Lily decided against offering her refuge. This came after Tom sent Lily a clear message to stay away from us, culminating in him blocking her contact. Finding herself unwelcome at Lily's and desperate for somewhere to stay, Rachel returned to our doorstep, bags in tow, pleading for entry. The answer, however, remained a steadfast no. Her situation had grown dire enough to force her onto an emergency flight to her sister's place in another state. Tom and I continued with our therapy sessions, uncovering and addressing many underlying issues. Thankfully, we've seen significant improvement in our relationship. The absence of Rachel's disruptive presence has been notably beneficial, reinforcing Tom's decision to cut ties permanently. We informed Aunt of this decision, understanding she was now Rachel's host. While Rachel reacted with expected outrage, her sister showed understanding towards our stance and assured us she'd help maintain our desired distance from Rachel. The peace that has since enveloped our lives is palpable, underscoring the toxicity we've managed to eliminate. This experience has taught us the value of setting boundaries and the importance of removing negative influences from our lives. If I could offer a piece of advice, it would be this: if you find yourself dealing with a toxic individual, especially one as close as a family member, taking steps to protect your peace and happiness is crucial, just as we did with Rachel.